So my name is David, and I made a career changer app. And you may wonder how I came up with this idea. Well, during DSR, we were working a lot with deep learning frameworks, two most popular being PyTorch and TensorFlow. And I was wondering, all right, if my time is limited, on which of the two should I spend my time on to become better? And I had no clear answer. So what I did was I was going to some job search pages and telling myself, let the labor market answer this question. Let's see for which type of skills companies are willing to pay money. So they put out vacancies. And then I just compared the counts. And you could see, like, for instance, that more TensorFlow jobs are posted than PyTorch jobs. But if you look at Google Trends, PyTorch is trending upwards. So it's going to overtake TensorFlow, it's quite likely. But from this, I realized that my approach with checking vacancies was not very structured. And at the same time, I liked the information in these job posts. So I would like to show you a data point because the whole app is based on scraped jobs. And let's look for a job, for a Python job. And what I did then was to pre-select no home office and to work on site. I also picked full-time jobs. And this thing is a bit no thanks. And the career level I picked with experience. All right, and now Xing is giving us a few jobs. Let's click one. And this is a data point. What does this data point provide? Well, it provides lots of information. For instance, the title, the company, also the industry, which is not very informative in this particular case, which is just any branch. Very interesting to me was here the estimate of the salary range. It's generated by Xing, but for the potential career changer, it's kind of informative. And we also have the job description. And the purpose of my app is to help career changers who feel a bit in a dead end in their current career to make a move to a different field and to lift the fog. Because if you change to a new field, you have very little knowledge and information. And this app wants to invite you to, in a playful brainstorm session, to figure out what could suit you well. So let's start. This machine is a bit old, so we have a bit of loading time, but please be patient with her. So the starting point is you are wondering which general field you would like to transition to. And I have now 3 choices. And of course, it resonates with you well, the software engineering. You have a feeling, oh, that sounds cool. Let's do this. All right, you click. And now you can choose specializations in the field of software engineering. I have 3 options to offer to you. And for these 3 options, like the web developer, data scientist, and web C++ developer, I have options. And of course, our gut feeling tells data scientist might be something to go for. And we see here now a few features. The first thing might be what are actually the typical tasks and skills a data scientist performs. And this is just a simple ChatGPT query sent there with the question, what are data scientists doing? Where are they working? This is giving you a bit of an info what data scientists are doing, which is giving you a first idea. But let's get to the bubble map. The bubble map will show us Germany, and it will display aggregated useful information. So this is the first feature of the app. And we can choose a metric of interest. I have generated 2 metrics that I think are interesting. One is the distribution of jobs. Where are the jobs? And the other one is how much can you expect to learn? Let's hit the first one. And we see this beautiful map of Germany. And each circle represents the percentage of vacancies for various cities. So for example, in Munich, 19% of all of the jobs that I scraped were posted for the city of Munich among all data scientist jobs. And we can see that, not surprisingly, Berlin is also a data science hub. And we can also like look at the salaries. And these salary estimates, they are calculated using the lower bound estimate from the Xing postings. The idea being that if you transition into the new field, you cannot demand too much of a salary and compensation, but at the same time, you shouldn't undersell. So I guess this gives you a rough idea how much you could ask for if you apply as a transitioner. And we see it's like in the 60-ish, 65-ish range, the salaries. And yeah, one thing that might be also interesting to you might be the industries. So one thing is, where are the jobs? What do they pay? But also in which sectors and industries would I work? So what are the relevant industries? And again, you saw in my data point, it contains this information. So you can see many data science jobs are in the internet sector, which I think are like companies like Flixbus or Zalando. So companies that do lots of sale and retail through the net. So they have like lots of data incoming from the customers, and some of them do real-time pricing and things like this, or market research. So I guess that's where they work. But it would be nice to extract this kind of information for the user. You can also see consulting is quite important for data scientists. So being sent on projects, again, it might be something you actually like doing or not, but it helps you to lift the fog, to get a clearer picture about your potential job field. Good. You also like maybe in the selections the web developer, right? So maybe you want to compare data science and web developing. It's a brainstorming session at the end, and you play around with the app, forming expectations. And let's look at the salaries. And then we get a nice side-by-side comparison. And you can see the dots for the web developer are a bit smaller, which means it seems like web developers earn a bit less. Maybe you care about money a lot, so this would nudge you towards data science. Maybe you don't care too much and you want to check out the industries. And here we can see that web developers work a lot in the consulting sector. So they are sent to many projects. This might be something you like or dislike. And they do also a lot of, like, let's say, marketing. And for data scientists, I think it's interesting that also many work in academics as instructors. These are the top 5 industries that we see. So, and here we have the comparison of like industry distributions by the 2 selections you made, web developer versus data scientist. You start with like no idea what you want to do. You are starting forming an idea. And the optimal thing would be to get jobs proposed by the app, right? I have 3,000 apps, 3,000 data points in the app, and to get like suggestions. And what I did here is find a job, and I've selected data sciences as the primary choice, web developers as secondary. And what I did here is the following. I took these job details for my 3,000 jobs. I sent each one into ChatGPT Turbo and told it, please tell me which are the 6 skills of the perfect applicant for this vacancy. And the 6 skills are provided here. What I did next is I embedded each skill into a vector space. I created word embeddings, and then I calculated the variance or the heterogeneity of these vectors. The idea being that if I want to go into a new field, I should apply for jobs where the required skills are quite, where there's a big dissimilarity in skills, because this means you have to be a general. If the required skills are very similar, for me, it would be an indication that you have to be a specialist for this role. And for the job transitioner, it's probably easier to get a foot into a new job if the job asks you to do many things, like presenting well, doing some coding, talking to technical staff, and all kinds of things at a good level, but not expert level, which would be like the perfect entry position. And we see here, for instance, the skill requirement of this job, among other things, is communication and teamwork. And what you would have to focus on is like the technical skill, NLP, using deep learning in Python. And this would be the only gap you could close by enrolling into the DSR.